go ahead, start yourself by lying down. You'll just take a few moments to arrive, to settle, and just to transition from our day, from whatever it has been that we have been doing, into this moment, into this space, this time, noticing what we feel in our bodies, noticing how the body is arriving here today. If we're carrying any tension, can we allow it to settle and be carried away by gravity into the earth? Just let it drop, release. A big sigh might help to facilitate that. Establishing awareness to the breath that is flushing into the body and flushing back out. Like waves from the sea that flush into little rock pools as the tide comes in and flush back out, emptying, emptying, emptying. The wave comes in, the white water flushes into the rock pool, splashes against the walls. And as the wave breaks again, the water recedes and empties. Just following the waves of the breath. The ebb and flow of breath. And so following along from our story, Women Who Run with Wolves, we are on chapter 8, which is homing, returning to oneself. And as all chapters in this book, it begins with a story. And the story is that old wise tale of the seals, of the SealSkin. And it's about a lonely fisherman who, because of his loneliness, he starts to see beautiful women on the rocks that are the seals. And it's a beautiful story. Of course, everything not is literal, but it's about how he hides the skin of the seal so that the woman cannot return back to the seal and return back into the sea. And instead, he wants her to marry him. So he hides her seal skin so she can't return into the sea, and he asks her instead for marriage so he's not lonely anymore. And of course she does. She finds him also handsome and she also wants to get married. So she marries the fisherman and they have many years of happiness. And also she comes to land and they have a child. But the time comes for her to put her seal skin back on, and she's called back into the ocean, and she knows that her time has come. So it's a beautiful story about returning to our wildness. That's a brief of the story. And then just reading from a chapter, it says, the pelt in this story, the seal skin, is not so much an article as the representation of a feeling state and a state of being, one that is cohesive and soulful and of the wildish female nature. When a woman is in this state, she feels entirely in and of herself instead of out of herself, and wondering if she's doing this right or acting right or thinking right. And though this state of being in oneself is one she occasionally loses touch with, the time she has previously spent there sustains her while she is about her work in the world. And the return to the wildish state periodically is what replenishes her psyche It replenishes her reserves for her projects, her family, her relationships, her creative life in the topside world. Eventually, every woman who stays away from her soul home for too long tires. And this is as it should be. She then should seek her soul skin again in order to revive her sense of self, her sense of soul, and in order to restore her deep-eyed and oceanic knowing. Let's take a deep stretch. Reach the arms up and overhead. Extend the legs. Feel your skin, the soul skin that we get to return back to. Maybe we can twirl the hands, the wrists, the feet. Maybe the fingers and the toes. And exhale as we bring the knees in toward the chest. I'm just going to start to rock forward and back, side to side. I love this story, and it talks about the soul skin. So they call it the SealSkin. It's the suit that they wear, but it's the soul skin. It's the wildish nature that we sometimes have to hang up to do what is practical, to do our duties. But there somewhere is our soul skin that we have to return back to once in a while. Our passions, our art, our creativity, our wildish nature, our playfulish nature. Rocking the knees back and forth, just to start to massage the lower back. And then we're going to take the feet to the floor. Have your feet about hips distance apart, knees hips distance apart, and the arms coming down to the floor. We're going to breathe in, lift the hips up, rooting down through the shoulders and down into your heels. And exhale, release the hips back down. Inhaling, push through the heels, lift the hips up. Exhale, lowering down. We're just going to keep with that. So that story, I love it, just reminds us to keep going back to what it is that really brings life to us. What really we feel that we put our soul into. And what, when we do it, we know that we've revived our soulful nature. We know that it restores us. It gives us that juice that we need, that we take back into every aspect of our life. Hopefully, maybe that's your yoga practice. Push down into the heels, lift the hips. Let's do this 2 more times, just waking up these glutes and the hamstrings. So what is your soul skin? What brings life to you? When we do it, even if we don't do it often, it feels very renewing to our soul. We're going to drop the hips down, just let everything rest, let everything settle. And the story warns, don't stay away too long from your soul skin. Don't stay away too long from the ocean, for if we stay on shore for too long, we might dry up. We lose our luster. We need the ocean. We need our soul skin. Okay, we're going to push down through our heels, lift the hips up. Take a deep breath in. This time we're going to reach the arms up and overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the arms back down. So we're keeping the hips lifted, just the arms are moving. Inhale, take the arms up and overhead. Maybe we can lift the hips a little higher. Exhale, bring the arms back down. We're going to do that 3 more times. Inhale. Try not to let the knees widen too much. And exhale. Inhale, take the arms up. And exhale, bring the arms down. 1 more time. Inhale, the arms come up. And exhale, the arms come down. See if you can lift your hips just a little higher. Inhale. And then exhale, we're going to release. Oh, let's hug the knees in toward the chest. All right, just a little bit of fire for the core. We're going to take our hands underneath our hips, our pelvis to start with. We're going to breathe in as we extend the legs outwards. Just make sure your back doesn't arch as you do that. Flex your feet. And then as we exhale, we're going to pull the knees in towards the chest and lift our head towards the knees. So we inhale, drop the head, extend the legs. Exhale, pull in. Inhale out. Exhale in. When your legs go out, make sure that your back doesn't take over. And you know that it's doing that if you're arching your back. So if that's happening, keep your legs a little higher. And if you want to challenge the core more, take them even lower. Feel this rocking that is happening. And if that starts to strain your neck, your head down. Pulling in and inhale, extend out. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug the knees in. Take the hands over the knees and shins. We're going to rock forward and back a couple of times. Come forward to your feet and then back towards your head. Forward to your feet, back towards your head. Maybe you can even take your hands away so the core gets more involved. And then can we pause in our boat pose? Pause in our Navasana. Oh, sitting on our sit bones. Good. We're going to row a little bit. So we're going to grab our oar with both hands. Deep breath in. Then we're going to exhale, row to the right. Oar, roar and oar. Inhale, up. Exhaling to the left. Inhale, like that fisherman. That lonely fisherman paddling out in sea. Keep oaring, keep oaring. You see suddenly ahead of you a rock filled with beautiful women. Funny how a lonely fisherman confused big old seals. Beautiful women. Inhale, take the arms up. Very different from Ariel, from the mermaid I remember. One more time. Can't you tell I'm just trying to distract you? Inhale, hold up, hold up. Can you even extend your legs up? Hold your oar, extend your legs. Good. Hug the knees in. Take a little rock. Forward and back. Forward and back. Oh. Eventually, we're going to come all the way up to all fours, onto our hands and knees, and just do a little wiggle, shake it out. Side to side, let the ribs move, the shoulders move, the head move. And then we're coming back to all fours, into our cat-cows. You're going to breathe in, the shoulders back, the chest pulls forward. Exhale, rounding the back, push the floor away, chin towards the chest. Inhaling, draw the shoulders back, chest moves forward. Exhale, round. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale. Let's come back into cow pose. Pause here for a moment and really stretch the belly. Good. Tuck the toes. Exhale. If you come through cat pose, push all the way up, cat to downward facing dog. Let's start to bend the knees one at a time. Let the body sway, waking up the back body, waking up the hamstrings, waking up the shoulders. Can you roll the shoulders apart, away from each other, like they're rolling off the edges of the body, opening through the upper back. Take one more breath here. Okay, let's walk our feet to our hands, coming to the top of the mat. And here we're going to take our forward fold. Let your head bow. Let your arms release, stretching into the back body. Maybe give yourself a little wiggle. Feel free to have a little play. We're going to drop the weight into the heels, chin to chest. Roll yourself up one vertebra at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And as we get to the top, reach the arms up to the sky. Big inhale. And exhale. The arms come down. All right, let's take our hands to our lower back. One shoulder rolls back, and then the other. One at a time. One shoulder rolls back, then the other, and then roll both shoulders back. Hug your elbows towards each other, and press the knuckles toward the floor. Good. Inhale, lift up through the chest and the heart. Take another deep breath in. As you exhale, pull the belly up and in as you fold. Knuckles toward the sky. Chin lifts up towards the chest. Beautiful. Can you squeeze the shoulders towards each other a bit more? Those biceps, squeeze them in. One more breath. As we exhale, drop the hands to the floor. Inhale, come up halfway, hands either to thighs or to the ground. Exhaling into your fold. Right leg steps back, inhale. Exhale, sink the hips, gazes forward. Inhale, left leg comes back. Exhale, lower down all the way to the floor, your choice. Inhale, slide forward into your first back bend. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Touch the toes, lift the hips, find your breath. Just one more breath here. On your inhale, we're going to lift the right leg to the sky. Step the right foot forward. Exhale as you sink the hips and lift the gaze. Inhale, left foot towards the right, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet, inhale, rise. Exhale, the hands to the heart. Good, another round, nice and quick, building heat. Reach to the sky. Exhale, finding your fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Left leg steps back, inhale. Exhale, sink the hips, lift your gaze. Inhale, right leg back, plank pose. Exhale, lower down, your choice. Inhale, slide forward, second back bend. Maybe it's bigger, maybe it's the same. Exhale, downward facing dog. Find your breath. One more here. Good. And then on our next inhale, left leg is going to lift to the sky. Step the left foot forward. Exhale, sink the hips. Inhale, right foot to left. Lengthen. Exhale, fold. Push through the feet. Inhale, rise. Reach to the sky. Tailbone down. Heart is lifted. Exhale the hands back to the heart. Good. Take a breath here. Inhaling. And exhale. Okay, let's take our hands behind our back again. Interlace them. Knuckles press down. Tailbone presses down. The heart lifts up. We might stay straight or push the hips a little more forward and see if you can take a back bend. Inhale. Exhale. Pull yourself upright and then pull all the way forward. Pull the belly in as you take your fold. Chin tucks up in towards the chest, back of the neck long. Good. Elbows hug in a little more towards each other. Good. One more breath. And as we exhale, drop the hands down. Inhale halfway, pushing off, whether the hands are on the floor or on the legs. Exhale, fold. Right leg steps back. We're going to pause there. We're going to inhale, take the arms up to the sky, reaching the arms up. I even wore my hair in its wildest nature today. It's getting a bit too wild though. To contain it for a little bit. Okay. Reaching the arms up, sinking into the lunge. Feel the little scooping up of the front of the pelvis. We're going to take a little mudra here called the wild heart mudra. So we're going to bring our arms in front of us. We're going to cross the right wrist over the left. Good. And then you're going to connect your first fingers, your pointer fingers together. You're going to connect your middle fingers together. You're going to leave the ring fingers and just connect your pinky fingers together. Then with your thumb and your ring finger, you're going to make little circles. Good. The fearless heart, sacred heart, open heart mudra. Just notice the energy in that. Good. Can you sink a little deeper in the lunge? And then we're going to lift the mudra up. And as we lift it up, maybe our gaze can turn up. Maybe our heart can turn up. Maybe we can start to open into a back bend. Fearless heart, fearlessly coming back to our soul skin, our wildest nature. One more breath there. And then exhale, release the mudra, release the hands. We're going to take a twist. Left arm reaches forward, circle all the way around in your twist. Exhale, the hand sweeps past the left leg. Inhale up towards the sky. Exhale, it sweeps past the left leg. Inhale all the way up towards the sky. One more time. Big full circle. And then pause in the twist. Left arm up to the sky, pause here, pause here. Left hand comes down. Step back into your plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, lower down, all the way to the floor. Inhaling into your back bend. Maybe now we can start to straighten the arms and lift the knees and thighs up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Finding our breath. Okay, let's repeat that on the other side. Right leg lifts to the sky. Inhale. Step the right foot through between the hands. Pause, settle, land. Inhale. Arms sweep to the sky. Finding our crescent lunge. Find your grounding. Strong through the legs, but keep it sinking. Hips are low. We're going to take the arms out in front of us. Left wrist crosses in front of the right. Bring it up to the camera again. Left wrist crosses in front of the right. And then it's the first fingers or your pointer fingers, your middle fingers. Leave out the ring fingers, your pinky fingers. Then you have your ring fingers and your thumbs to make circles. That's it. Perfect. Fearless heart mudra. We're going to inhale, lift it up, show it up towards the sky. Think a little deeper, and we can just do that, just lifting it up, turning our gaze up. Or lift from your belly, lift from the front of the pelvis and take a little bit more of a back bend. Feel that stretching out the quadriceps, the hip flexors, the psoas. One more breath. And then exhale, release the hands, release the mudra to the floor. Inhale, right arm reaches up, big sweeping circle all the way back. Inhaling up, right arm, sweeping circle. One more time, inhale, right arm, and then pause here in the twist. Spin the ribs, spin the chest towards the sky, taking your breath. And then right hand to the outside of right foot. Inhale, lift forward, lengthen. Exhaling into your fold. Press through the feet. Inhale, rise, reach up to the sky. Exhale the hands to heart center. Okay, this time we're going to take our hands to our lower back. Fingers facing down. And you want to feel that you're almost trying to press the tailbone down towards the floor. Hug the elbows back and inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart. Deep breath in, lift a little bit more. Shoulders draw back. Inhale, one more breath. Exhale, pull the belly in and take your bow, fold forward. Release the arms. Come up halfway, inhale. Lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Good, we're gonna step the left leg back. Take a moment, pause, sink in the lunge. We're gonna inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Taking our fearless heart mudra again. We're gonna bring the arms in front. Right wrist goes behind the left. You're gonna take the hands up, point fingers to the sky. First pointer fingers, middle fingers, little fingers, and then making those circles with the thumb and the index finger. Sink into the lunge. Inhale, take that mudra up to the sky. Feel the energy in the hands, that fearless heart, fearlessly going into our wildish nature. And then exhale the hands back to the floor. Now this time, we're turning it into Vashisthasana, or side plank. So I'm gonna roll towards my left foot into my left hand. My right arm is coming to the sky. And let's wiggle the right foot halfway back. Let's take modified, push through the right foot, lift the hips a little higher. If you wish, you can take the full version, right foot stacks on top of the left. Draw the shoulders back. You can even feel that you could lean the heart back a little. Good, take one more breath here. And then exhale, right hand to the floor. Pause in your plank pose just for a breath. Inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Let's go all the way to our belly and pause there. We're gonna reach the hands forward in front of us. Come up onto your fingertips. The arms are extended in front of us, onto our fingertips. Push through the feet and inhale, come up into seal pose. The arms are in front. Good. And the further our hands are away from us, kind of the gentler it is. You can always walk your hands back, closer towards your body, so you climb up the front body into a bigger back bend, but it is all optional. Take one more breath, wherever your body wants to be right now. And then exhale, release. We're just going to drop the forehead onto our hands. We're going to pause here for a moment. We're just going to do little hamstring curls so that our hamstrings get nice and warm and they're used to this contraction. Because as we open the front body, the back body is contracting slightly. So just little hamstring curls. We're just going to lift the right heel up, bring it into the bum, and then drop it down. But as you lift your left leg up, really squeeze the back of the thigh and then lower and relax. Squeeze the right hamstring, pull the heel in and release and relax. Squeeze the left hamstring, pull in, release and relax. One more time each side. Squeeze and pull in and release and relax. Squeeze and pull in and release and relax. Let's take our hands back underneath our shoulders, push the floor away, inhale up, and exhaling into our down dog, unless you want to push into child's pose instead. Finding our breath here. Okay. We're going to come to our knees wherever we are, dropping down or lifting up to all fours. We're going to extend the right leg back behind us, toes pointing down, a little squeeze to that buttock again. Same thing, we're going to curl the heel in and then extend the leg. Curl the heel in and extend the leg. Curl the heel in. Now we can just keep it like that. A little bit more complicated if we extend the opposite arm at the same time. So we're working the core, working our balance, and also warming up the hamstrings. Whew. Next time our foot comes in, pause it there. We're going to reach the left arm up, take a little twist, and then see if you can find your foot behind you. And if not, you have a strap nearby perhaps. Kick the foot into your hand, turn the chest forward, and kick the foot up. So it's going back into the hand and up. Pull the chest forward and up at the same time, almost like you're in a cow pose. One more breath. And then exhale, drop the knees and drop your hips back towards your heels. Let your body round in child's pose. You might want to keep the knees a little more closer together, even if you find it harder to get your forehead to the floor. The closer the knees are together, the more the back body can round. And finding breath here. Okay, we're coming up for the other side. Inhale, we're gonna rise. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Perfect. It's the right leg that's gonna come up to the sky. Step the foot forward between the hands. Boop. And pause there. We're coming right into lunge again. So we're going to inhale, take the arms up to the sky. Reach and lift and lengthen, just a lunge here, nothing fancy. Exhale, the hands come back to the floor, step it forward. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Come all the way up, press through the feet, reach the arms up. You could add a back bend here. If you're overdoing it already with back bends, just keep the back straight, spine long, hands to the heart. Take a deep breath in and a slow exhale. Okay, let's do that again on the other side. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. Exhale, taking our fold, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhaling into the fold. Good. This time the right leg comes back into our lunge. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, lifting up through the pelvis. Good. Find your grounding. Let's find our mudra again. Left wrist goes on top of the right. Fingers up towards the sky. And then connect all those fingers except for the ring, except for the pinkies. And then the ring finger and thumb come together. Good. Just feel that. Just pause for a moment before we even move it up to the sky. Do you feel any change from the mudra? You can get sensitive to what that feels like in the arms, what it feels like around your heart. And then bravely lifting it up towards the sky. Inhale. Feel the back bend if you wish to. Leaning slightly back, scooping up from the front of the pelvis. And then exhale, the hands come back to the floor. We're rolling over towards the right hand, onto the right foot. We can pause halfway with our left foot on the floor, left arm up to the sky. Or you can stack the left foot on top of the right, tailbone towards the heels, lift, open, find your breath. Good, one more breath here. So good. Left hand comes back to the floor. Hold the plank. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to lower all the way down. Good. Arms are going to reach out in front of us. Inhale back into that seal pose. That beautiful seal. It's like the fisherman found. Or you might even be able to walk your hands back. And then exhale, let your forehead rest on your hands for a moment. Just let the back get neutral. A little rock in the hips. We're going to press ourselves up to all fours. And then this time we're going to take our knees wide. Push the hips back towards the heels. Let the heart sink to the floor, forehead sinks to the floor. We're going to bring the palms of the hands together. Hug your elbows in toward the side of your head. And let your fingertips start to lift upwards to the sky. We're coming into a prayer pose here, stretching through the triceps, opening the front of the shoulders, the chest. Slowing down the breath. One more breath here, like diving back into that ocean. Diving into the ocean of our breath. And then release the hands. Let's come up to all fours. We might have to bring those knees in again. We're going to extend the left leg directly back. Toes pointing down. Leg is in line with the hips. We're going to do a little curl. Squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the hamstring, and release. Curling in and releasing. Curling in and releasing. If you want to add a little extra layer to that, extend the opposite arm. Curl in and release. Curl in. That's it. Good. 2 more times. And last one. All right, as we draw the heel in, can we take a little twist? Reach the right arm up, reach back for the foot. Take the foot into the hand and lift the foot up. Open up the chest. That's it. Good. Requires a bit of balance. Pulling the chest forward, kicking the foot back, and you should feel it opening through the shoulder too. One more breath there. And then release gently the foot back, hand back, knee back. And tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Pulling up and back. All right, left foot is going to step forward, back between the hands. Just coming up for our lunge. Inhale, sweeping the arms towards the sky. Sinking a little deeper into the lunge. Lifting up through the front hip. And exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, step forward, and exhale, taking our big bow. Push through the feet, inhale, rise, sweeping the arms to the sky, and exhale, hands to the heart. All right, we have just a little bit more standing work to do, then we're gonna start working a little bit more deeply with our back bends, with our hip flexors and our hips. First, we're going to do a variation of wild thing. So let's get into down dog first. We're going to take a deep breath, reach the arms to the sky, exhaling into our forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale, giving ourselves space, and exhale, fold. We're going to step back, or maybe even take a little hop back into plank pose. Holding our plank just for a moment. Good when we're doing a lot of back bending to add a lot of core work in as well. Just helps the back not to feel overextended. Good. Pull the hips up and back and come into our downward facing dog. So we're coming into a variation of wild thing. So it depends if you're comfortable with wild thing or not. If not, in a moment's time, you can drop your left knee down, spin open, so it's a modified Vashisthasana again. And just reach the arm up and overhead, lean back, and you're in a modified wild thing. So know that that's an option. Or we're gonna inhale, lift the right leg into the sky, bend right knee, and just take a moment to enjoy scorpion pose. That right knee is lifting high into the air, right heel is almost as if it's kicking the left shoulder. All right, then we're gonna flip right foot to the floor, push through the hips, open up into wild thing. All right, let's come back for a moment, resting in your child's pose, hips go back, find your breath. So that was wild thing, but now we're gonna add the variation to it if you wish. It's a little bit trickier. You can always watch before you do. And you can always just come back to the modified version again. We're going back on that same side. I'm gonna inhale, lift up. Find our downward facing dog. Right leg is gonna lift up. I'm gonna bend my knee like I'm coming into scorpion tail. But this time I'm almost like I'm coming into wild thing. But at the same time, I'm gonna lift my right arm up. I'm gonna see if I can find my right foot. And then I'm gonna try to open up here. It's a tricky one. So if Vashisthasana side plank was possible for you, you could give this a go. If not, come into normal wild thing. Not, come into modified. Have a go. Don't be afraid of falling. If anything, you're just gonna fall into your sofa. Good, so it's your same arm as the lifted leg. So right leg goes back, right arm goes back. Yeah, don't be afraid. Your foot will catch you if you fall. Your furniture will catch you. Yeah, and it's not easy, but it's interesting to play. Interesting not to be afraid. You get a little bit wild sometimes, but knowing the boundaries, knowing our safe edges, knowing when to come back again. Almost, yeah, it's hard. Rest, whether rest is in child's, whether rest is in down dog. Might even rest your wrists. Okay, let's try that on the other side. So we're coming up. Remember, you can always just keep the right knee down, extend the left leg, and roll open for modified. But it's a beautiful stretch through the side body. Or down dog, let's just do the wild thing first, but even before that, just enjoy scorpion tail. Lifting the left knee up as if you're gonna kick. So that preparation is gonna help reaching the foot, just to really open up the hip first. Then you might drop the foot back. Come into wild thing, lifting up, finding the strength through that right arm. You can even play with reaching the left hand back as if that foot was there. And then come over. Don't tire yourself for too long. Take a moment to rest, to sit the hips back, to settle. Our little visits to our wild side should
feel rejuvenating. If we stay there too long, just like everything else, it gets too exhausting. So remember, there's always choice here. Choose a choice that's going to feel good for you. We're going to rise up.
Inhale another play one more time, whether it's modified Vashisthasana, coming into down dog, could just be another wild thing. Or we can try the variation where we start to come to wild thing. It's more like a side plank pose. The left knee is bent, the left arm reaches up. You kind of have to misalign to get the foot. You kind of have to, that's it, push the hips forward and then finding the balance again. Oh, not so easy, I know. Helps when there's furniture and walls around us to kind of bounce us back like a ping pong ball. And then release, rest. We might take the knees wide, drop the hips back, bring the hands in prayer. We might lift the fingertips towards the sky. And breathe. Breathe into the chest and the shoulders. One more breath here. And then release. Release the arms. Come back up. Give everything a little wiggle. Now we're coming into pigeon pose. We're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips, or stay on all fours if you wish to come into it from there. Right knee eventually comes over and across the right edge of the mat. Left leg slides back. And then we can sink the hips down and drop down to the forearm. And drop down to the forehead. And settle. Settle here. Okay. I'm going to give you an option to add to this, but again, just an option. It's just playing. Because of the story about the seals, and it doesn't necessarily in the story talk of mermaids, of them being mermaids, but it's pretty common and pretty similar to the tale of where the idea of a mermaid originated. And it was probably the fishermen mistaking the seals on the rock, again in their loneliness, as beautiful women with a tail. And it's a lot to do with the seal's eyes, actually. Seal's eyes are very loving and doting, kind of like a very loving woman if you're a lonely fisherman. Anyway, we're coming into mermaid pose, maybe, or you can stay in your pigeon. The first sign if we can come into mermaid's pose is, are we able to lift ourselves up? So in your pigeon pose, and we lift ourselves here. And if pigeon pose isn't working out for you, you can always just come onto your belly, come into your heel pose again, like we did earlier, the back bend. But in pigeon, can we start to squeeze the inner thighs and lift ourselves up? Good, and then we're gonna bend the left leg. And you might be able to root down through the right hand and reach back for your left foot with your left hand. Draw the heel in toward the buttock, pull up through the heart. Good, if that's not possible, we have a strap. We can hook the strap around. Good, and that gives us a little bit more accessibility. Good. If that's possible, can you start to bend your elbow towards the sky? It does require you to pull the foot in a little bit more. That's the second part. Then eventually we'd want to slide the foot into the elbow. And then you start to work finding balance. We stay upright. And this is a good part to stay with in the mermaid's pose for a while. Then you can start to play with, can I take my right hand away and balance? There has to be the right angle of your right leg. If it's too far in, it's a little harder. If it's too wide, you might sit on the right hip. You could always cheat a little bit and put a block underneath your seat. And if you wanted to go Further than that, you can reach the arm up. Left fingers point towards the sky because the foot is in the forearm, the elbow. You can come into your beautiful seafaring mermaid pose. But even if you're here, perfect. You are a beautiful mermaid still. Take one more breath. And then release that. Oh, maybe it's a down dog. Maybe it's all fours. However you need to let go of that in your body. And then we will come to the second side. Left knee comes across the mat. So you might be doing thread the needle pose as a variation. You might come onto your belly and come into your seal pose. But first, we're coming into our hip stretch. Just enjoying the solitude, the quiet of that pigeon pose. Of course, the first part of the mermaid pose, so important to master each step at a time. Softening the shoulders, deepening the breath, and you can always just stay here. Or if you wish to add more, it might be that you're just going to add the part of coming up with the straight arms, pulling up through the front of the pelvis. That is enough. It changes a lot what we feel in relationship to this pose. Or we can bend the right leg. That might be enough. We might reach back with the right arm. Keep trying to square your body towards the front. Eventually, we want to hold the foot so that the elbow points to the sky. That way we can start to get the foot into the crook of the elbow. Then we start to turn the fingers up towards the sky so the elbow goes down. But first I find that elbow up helps you get the foot placed and fingers then up. Then can we squeeze and then lift ourselves up, maybe floating that left arm, maybe reaching the arm up, taking it back. But even if you're just here, today, a great start. Squeeze and lift through the inner thighs. Good, very good. Take one more breath. And gently release. Gently come out of that however you wish to. If you're on your back, stay there. We're going to join you now. If you're still forward, release that from your body. And then we too are going to come onto our back. Hug the knee in toward your chest. Give yourself a little rock, a little roll. And try to massage the back with the floor. So as we roll around, let the floor massage the back. And keeping the knees together, let's drop the arms open and let the legs drop to the left as we turn our head to the right side. And the right shoulder falls heavy. We might even take the left hand on top of the right knee to let it settle, let it sink. And slowing down the breath as we breathe into the right side of ribs and belly. And let's take one more breath here. And then on your next inhale, take the knees back up to the sky, up and over toward the right. Drop the legs, right hand on top of the knees, left shoulder sinks down. Breathing into the whole left side of the body. body is heavy. And on your next inhale, the knees can come back to the sky. One last little rock. And then releasing the feet back onto the floor. And maybe that's enough to settle and to stay. Or extending the legs down on the mat and allowing the body to rest. Finding your Shavasana. And just letting the body be completely still after all the waves of that practice. The spine to be neutral, the softening across the chest, the shoulders, and the heart. And just take a moment to feel the whole body from the inside out. To feel from your soul skin. Eventually, every woman who stays away from her soul home for too long tires. And this is as it should be. Then she seeks her skin again in order to revive her sense of self and soul, in order to restore her deep-eyed and oceanic knowing. For this great cycle of going and returning is reflexive within the instinctual nature of women and is innate to all women for all their lives, from throughout girlhood, adolescence, young adulthood, through being a lover, a wife, a mother, through being a craftswoman, a wisdom holder, an elder woman, and beyond. And these phases are not necessarily chronological. For mid-age women can sometimes be newborn, and old women can be intense lovers, and little girls know a good deal about cronish enchantment. We lose the soul skin by becoming too involved with ego, by being too exacting, a perfectionist, or driven by blind ambition, or being dissatisfied about self, about family, community, culture, world, and not saying or doing anything about it. Oh, there are many ways to lose the soul skin, just as there are as many women in the world. The only way to hold on to this essential soul skin is to retain an exquisitely pristine consciousness about its value, its worth, and to return to it often. Return to the wildish state periodically. Let it replenish. Let it replenish, revive the reserves that you have for all of your projects, your family, your relationships, your creative life in the topside world. Return, return, return. You're returning back to your breath. And a slow, deep, and steady breath in. And a gentle, gentle sigh. And take a big stretch and a big yawn, reaching the arms above the head. And hugging the knees in toward the chest, giving yourself the biggest squeeze. And we're going to come to lie on one side, taking a moment, a little pause there. Just letting the body rest on the ground. And using the hands to push the floor away, to come back to a comfortable, steady seat. And reaching the arms up to the sky. And bringing your hands to your heart as you give yourself a bow. And thank you so much for your practice tonight. Have a very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you. Well done.